and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Ukraine and Hungary expelled each other's consuls as their passport dispute deepens. Budapest has already granted Hungarian citizenship to about 100,000 ethnic Hungarians in Ukraine that violates Ukrainian legislation. So, will this conflict continue and what to expect next? To talk more about this, we welcome in our studio today Anton Kuchukhidze. He's an international relations expert. Hello and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
So first of all, let's enlighten our audience about what the whole conflict is all about.
I think the main problem of today's conflict is the law on the education, which was passed in 2017, and especially the Article 7, on which Venice Commission gave its conclusion. And unfortunately, the Ukrainian side didn't change this law in accordance with the Venice Commission conclusion, because our government said that we are correct, and Hungary has a different position. So this political crisis deepens every day, and I think if this question is not solved, I think we will see the future deepening of the current political conflict.
How do we solve the problem? How do we break this crisis between Ukraine and Hungary at this point?
On the one hand, there is anything difficult, because we can change our legislation in accordance with the Venice Commission conclusion. It means to make amendments to the Article 7 and the adoption of additional the law on the secondary education. Yeah, on the one hand, but on the other hand, we see that our government doesn't want to do it. So bilateral meetings will not give us any results if we have not any changes in our legislation. So I think that this issue can be solved on the bilateral level, and I think if we have normal, pragmatic dialogue with Hungary, they stop their block concerning EU membership or NATO membership.
Hungary has threatened to block Ukraine from NATO and EU integration. Now, if we do not go and make these amendments to the Article 7, according to the Venice Commission, as you've just mentioned, how far could Hungary go into blocking us? And what outcome could Ukraine have out of such a situation?
I think that it is the most important and the most blocking decision. I don't know any other such strong decision concerning blocking. They have such mechanism and they used it. So until we don't find mutual dialogue, mutual pragmatic dialogue, I think such situation will be in future.
How about the situation with the passports?
Frankly speaking, passport issues is the most problematic, not only with Hungary, but Poland, Romania, Czech Republic, etc. Unfortunately, it's normal situation on the border regions in Ukraine that our citizens have dual citizenship, unfortunately. So on the one hand, there is a problem of our partners, that we have not normal dialogue concerning this issue. But on the other hand, our government should fulfill our legislation. We have Article 19 in the law of citizenship, which deprive of citizenship Ukrainians who have the second citizenship. So if we cooperate with our partners including Hungary, concerning this issue, concerning mutual receiving information, concerning dialogue on the level of ministries of internal affairs. And if we and our government will fulfill our current legislation, I think we will have no such problems.
Let's talk about the fact that Hungary and Ukraine has already expelled both of the countries' consuls. Now, Hungarian foreign minister had this to say on the situation. He accused Ukraine of carrying out, quote, an extreme campaign that spurs hatred towards Transcarpathian Hungarians, and denied that the Hungarian consul had violated the law. Now, could you comment?
Unfortunately, you know, such issues in today's bilateral relations are the result of political contradictions. So, in the language of diplomacy, such issue is unfriendly act, unfortunately, and now we see mutual unfriendly acts.
So we see a response, of course.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately, it is political technology, but not good diplomacy. I think we will see such mechanisms concerning other diplomats, maybe, until we don't find mutual agreement with Hungarian part. Unfortunately, we will see such things.
Is Ukrainian government doing anything to find a mutual agreement with Hungary's government at this point? Except for expelling a consul.
On the one hand, from the point of view technology of political decisions, yes. For example, the Venice Commission conclusions, so-called recommendations, they are integrated in the president's document concerning NATO integration, and really you can find in this document so-called year plan for NATO integration under Ukraine NATO Commission. You can find all these recommendations from the Venice Commissions and our obligations to implement it in our legislation. On the other hand, we also have dialogue. So our Ministry for Foreign Affairs held some meetings with Hungarian part, but from the point of view practical decisions, unfortunately, we have no such decisions. So
what's the stumbling block in this situation?
Yeah, we have process, even at the legislation level, but unfortunately we have not concrete decisions.
Is there any way to give a forecast? What's the outcome going to be?
I think that contradictions will deepen between two sides, and I think Hungary will not refuse from its policy concerning blocking the EU and NATO aspirations of Ukraine. It is very bad signal for us. And I think if we look at the election campaign of our government or other officials, we see that the language issue is one of the main point of political advertisement, boards, etc. So I think
over the last 10-15 years, I would say it's always one of the main
I think
points.
Such politicians will not refuse from their political technology for these elections. So I think 1 year we will see this crisis without any pragmatic decisions from both sides.
So let's say after the elections are over and the new government is in force, only then the real steps to solve this problem are going to be taken.
Yeah, I believe that can be done after elections.
Well, thank you so much for coming and clarifying the whole situation for us. Hopefully the situation will resolve. That was Anton Kuchukhidze. He's an international relations expert. Thank you so much for joining us, for watching UATV. Stay tuned for more.